Hey, welcome to my podcast. Jonathan Myers here, and I'm here to introduce myself and explain what's going on with this podcast and what the future podcast will be about. So, a little bit about myself is I like to give business consultation and coaching on advice for people who are trying to increase their sales, increase revenue, um, help them out in whatever way I can, and provide some information with that. That being said, I kind of want to introduce my story, how I actually got into this world, which, like a lot of other people out there, was completely by accident. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. A little bit about myself, that way you guys have a little bit of background on me. So, I currently run a sales and prospecting agency. I also have a partner with it, very smart guy, copywriting, know a lot about that as well from what he's taught me. I do a lot of the operations in regards to the verbal communications and closing, high ticket sales and things of that nature. So I also do consulting and coaching as well. And the area of specialty that I have there is coaching people to either establish their own business and actually get to their business goals and revenue. Um, Also be comfortable closing high ticket packages, or also the other thing I like to do is help people out in regards to those that are struggling with closing packages. Let's just say they've been closing for a while, they've had sales experience, but they just, whether they have a plateau in the road or they are just not closing deals and hitting their quota. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here to help with, and also the prospecting aspect of a lot of things. There are many different avenues people don't know how to capitalize on, and with the world today, technology is just filled with a bunch of junk. A bunch of junk that just doesn't work. There's a lot of this, oh, try it, and, you know, no offense to certain businesses out there, because, some of the stuff works. Actually, a lot of the stuff works. It's just not every tool is the only tool for the job, and that's what every business likes to make it out to be. It kind of frustrates me, really. So, uh, as an example, I love their metaphor, one funnel away, and for many of you, that's the metaphor and the not metaphor, but the that's the ClickFunnels motto for their one funnel away challenge, and it can totally be true. Um, if you're using it in the right aspect. And by no means do they claim that theirs is the only and right way to get to your dream and being one funnel away. But as an example, there's a lot of businesses out there that make that claim like, oh, you just have to do my practice and you'll be successful tomorrow or in a month or something. Which, the truth is, if you focus on something for a full month, give it your 100% dedication, you are going to do better no matter where you're at. Um, but anyways, back to reality. So, you know, there are certain tools that work for certain things that need to be done. The problem is people don't know when to utilize those tools, and that's what I like to help and point out, provide some clarity with that. So, back to this long story of trying to tell you about me. It's we're backtracking here. So, I was a firefighter paramedic, and about almost 8 years of experience at this point. Of it was about the year of 2018, and I was happy as could be. I was doing my job, loved my job. I had no intentions of getting into anything else or doing anything else. I wanted to retire as a firefighter, and well, I had a bad luck of experiences occur. August of 2018, I got hit by a hurricane. Uh, I was living in Corpus Christi, Texas. I still am living in Corpus Christi, Texas. But my house was just destroyed. I had almost over $40,000 of damages. And what happened was there was insurance claims that were supposed to be made, and actually not supposed to be. They were made. The thing is, they were supposed to be paid, and that's the point I never got to. But anyways, when the initial disaster happened, I filed a claim because I had roof damage, I had fence damage. In fact, I didn't even have a fence anymore. My trampoline was found 3 or 4 houses down in my neighbor's yard, which I'm surprised it was even there, not blown farther away. And I also had some electrical damages. quite a bit of expenses. But anyways, so the damages needed to be repaired. And so I got contractors to immediately start doing work once I found out that I was going to have a certain amount coming in from the insurance. You know, I filed a claim. The contractor came out, checked out the damages, and said, okay, cool. You know what? Here's how much is going to be offered after the insurance companies analyzed it. So, pay the contractors. I ended up that I was supposed to get like $30-something thousand from insurance. And so, okay, cool. So I paid like anywhere like $5,000 or $6,000 out of pocket to start the work, which, you know, $5,000 or $6,000 off a firefighter's salary, that's quite a bit of money at the time. I was living off a $48,000 to $50,000 salary. So they begin their work. They complete it, and 6 weeks rolls by. They're willing to work with it because they know how insurance companies work. So the contractors that did the work, they contact me like, hey, you hear anything from the insurance company? And I was like, you know what? No, I haven't heard anything yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and reach out to them. So I did that, and they said, oh, we're gonna send you a letter in the mail. Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's fine. I mean, can you at least tell me what's up with the check? Like, yeah, we have some information for you. You'll find out in the mail, kind of thing. Is what they're ultimately what they said. So I get this letter in the mail, and it's been about a total maybe 7-8 weeks since the contractors have done their work and finished working on my house. And the letter says, due to depreciation, we're not going to pay the full amount because your house value is not worth what it was worth, obviously due to the damages and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, no crap. You know what? I got hit by a freaking hurricane, of course, but the whole point of insurance is for you to repair the stuff and then make the value go back to where it was, right? Right. That's not how it worked. So I was on the phone almost every day trying to contact these people, and you know, I was doing about 2 hours a day. By the time I was off the phone, I had a major headache. It sucked. It was terrible. It was a terrible experience. And I even picked up 2 other jobs in the meantime, knowing I had to make money to pay this off in case however long this insurance thing was going to go on. I had no idea. I tried this for like 6 months. And so I was working about anywhere from 96 to 120 hours a week. Because as firefighting and doing paramedic and EMS, you can work 24-hour shifts. So having 2 other jobs like that, it's easily able to make yourself work 120 hours a week if you really wanted to. You could work 7 days a week if you really wanted to. Don't advise it, but hey, you could. So I'm slaving away, working my butt off, trying to get stuff paid up and catch up on bills, to keep caught up with bills, actually. And, you know, it was one event after another. As soon as this happened, you know, it was maybe probably about a couple months later, 5 months later, after all this started going on, the girl I was dating at the time just getting frustrated with me, just being gone constant. We were pretty serious. Like, we had been dating already for like 2 years or something. And I was just gone all the time. And mentally, my mind just wasn't right either. I was just not there when I was home. I wasn't, you know, the same because I was just always exhausted. And she got tired of that. She noticed it, didn't like it. And, you know, I didn't really approach the fact or the situation appropriately. I was just kind of said, hey, it's something you're going to have to deal with for right now. Kind of wish money grew on trees, but it doesn't. You know, that was my mindset back then. And also not only like, you know, and I'm not saying money can grow on trees, it can't, but I also didn't know back then with all the technology we had, you have a lot more opportunity out there, which is the point of this entire story. Anyway, so obviously I wasn't coping her appropriately, you know, being affectionate and emotional. She got tired of it and left. She left, and, you know, I was the one left with the bills and everything, so we had a house. And just taking care of a furry pup, you know, which the furry pup was my world. Her name was Delilah. Which, that was actually another unfortunate event that occurred. So, my girl ended up leaving, and probably maybe a month after she left, I got into a car wreck. I was on my way to school. I decided I was going to go back to college and make my life better for myself, work hard, and go through school, focus on nursing or something that pays more, hoping I can get out of the situation I was in, because I was in a deep financial rut. I went pretty much into $40,000 of debt overnight from that hurricane. Um, so I was on my way to school and ended up getting this massive wreck. Just totaled my car. Ended up totaling my car, breaking my hand, bruising a lung, and tearing a pec, and that just sucked. Um, and at that point, I was just I was already struggling to make it by. I was barely staying above water. So, on top of the bills and everything, having to get a new car now and take care of medical stuff, that kind of sucked right there. And thankfully, I had sick time for work, so I was out for work on sick time, so that worked out. Still got paid with all that while being injured. But, about maybe 2 months after all this, 3 months after all this, okay, after the car wreck, I ended up getting another injury, and this one was way more serious. And ended up just tearing I was helping a buddy out with repairs from the hurricane on his house. Um, Ended up falling through a floor and tearing my quad tendon, tearing my LCL. Bad to the point, obviously you tear your LCL and stuff like that. It's hard to mobilize and move anyways, but just couldn't even stand on the leg. Couldn't even bend it, couldn't even move it. It just was non-functional. And this was outside of work, and obviously, you can't firefight doing this. You can't work EMS without a working leg. So it really sucked. Um, Ultimately, I had to get surgery on it, but like during this process, during this time when I got injured, 1 week later, I noticed my dog, Delilah. She's not moving. She's just standing and just not moving. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Trying to figure out what's up with her. A storm had just blown in, so I was like, okay, please just just be sick, and we'll be good. You'll get over it hopefully pretty soon, because I couldn't afford to take her to the vet. At this time, I just got injured. I'm on disability, making $1,200 a month now, which everybody knows $1,200 ain't gonna do crap. But while being on disability, I couldn't work anywhere else, and I'm here trying to figure stuff out still. My dog got sick within the same week of getting injured. It was terrible. And my dog was everything to me, so it really sucked that I just couldn't afford to take her in. Like, it ate at me so bad. She ended up getting better ultimately, which I thought was great. So I was like, awesome, don't have to take her in. This is great. Because I even scheduled a vet appointment with her like about a week later, not knowing what I was going to do, but I was going to try to figure it out. Anyways, so she ended up getting better. I thought that was fantastic. Then, I go and get my medical treatment done. Because it was either her or me, and if I can't fix myself, then, I can't help her at all. So that was my mindset, and she was my family. She was everything I had. She had been with me through everything. We used to go paddleboarding all the time. She'd get in the canoe with me, or not canoe, the kayak with me, just go out in the ocean. Had her right when I got hired on the fire department for the very first time. It was awesome. So definitely had a lot of history with her, and I wasn't close to my family at the time. So she was, like I said, she was everything to me. So anyways, moving on. Got my surgery done, and that was probably, like I said, that was about a week later after everything, after her getting sick and getting better now. Get my surgery, get back home, and like not even 2 days later, I noticed she's doing the same thing, but it's worse. And I was like, crap. It is like maybe 10 o'clock at night. Just getting worse. And just not moving. I just look at her. She literally is just standing and not moving for almost 30 minutes, staying in the same position. And I kind of look at her a little bit more, and like she has this thick drool coming from her mouth, and I'm just like, which is abnormal for her. She, dogs drool, but this was not like the normal drool. And I was like, what the hell? So I was like, all right, you know what? Fuck this. I gotta take her in. I gotta take her in now. Get her checked out. So I took her to the ER vet, and the the veterinarian starts looking at her, and she just says, yeah, her lungs are full of fluid, and we just did some tests on her, and late stage of lung cancer. And I was like, holy crap. Like, this was terrible. Okay, so what do you have to do? And the vet said, we have to do surgery. We have to drain the fluids out. I'm like, okay. Want me to do what you got to do? Like, just take care of her. She's all I've got. Just do what you have to do. This was about October, and of was it 2019? Yeah, October 2019. And yeah, it was terrible. She ultimately ended up, as soon as she got work done, I walked out the door to go to my car to go home because the doc said it was going to be an overnight deal. They're going to hold her there for a few days. They'll call me and let me know what's up. So what ended up happening, as soon as I walk out that door, I got a phone call from the vet. Like, it was already been only 5 minutes. Like, literally, it had not been long. And I was like, already thinking something bad happened. And as soon as I pick up the phone, I'm like, yeah. And she's like, hey, it's yada yada from the vet clinic. Delilah just coded. And I was just like, oh, hell. And ended up going back in. They asked me what I wanted to do with the quality of life. Delilah was already 12 years old. And so, not to mention her hip was already bad, because Rottweilers have a history of hip problems to begin with. After the cancer, I never knew what kind of quality of life she was going to have, and the vet didn't know either. The vet said her lungs were severely damaged, so for all I know, she might have been miserable. So the vet asked me if I wanted them to do resuscitation efforts, and just kind of left it there. I was like, you know what? I was like, no, just because I don't want her to be miserable. I don't know if she's going to be happy being alive. I don't know if she's going to be in pain being alive. I don't want her to be like that. So I let her go. And at this point, I'd already been trying to figure things out and realized I was tired of money dictating where I was going to go. I was tired of money dictating the lives that were going to be affected by me in a negative way. I wanted lives to be affected by me in a positive way. So I decided that very day I'm making a change. I'm doing whatever I had to do to make that change. And I did. I looked online everywhere. I spent hours and hours looking for things to do online because I couldn't do anything, obviously, because of the injury. So I couldn't do any physical work. I just had the surgery and all that. I ran into digital marketing. And I started playing around with that. Yeah, it was good. It made a little bit of money for me. It wasn't anything fantastic. That's also because I wasn't focused. I'm not saying if I focused on it, I probably would have made more money off of it. But I kept focusing in squirrel mode, running on everything, which is another story later. To focus on something. Don't try something for 2 or 3 weeks and be done with it. Not even a month. You gotta give it a couple months. Not even a couple months. You gotta focus on. Just freaking focus on whatever it is you're doing. But anyway, so I tried digital marketing. Yeah, it didn't work out. But just one thing led to the other. I went from digital marketing, trying e-com, went from e-com to trying getting into high ticket sales. No, actually, I didn't get high ticket sales. I went back to marketing again. Went from e-com back to marketing. Then I went and just kind of trying to figure out where things were. And during this process, I knew I had to make more money. Or not make more money, get clients and how to make those sales. So I ended up running into a course that taught me how to make sales and took this course. And I was intending to use it for myself to sell my own stuff for digital marketing, even though I really wasn't, fantastic at it. So after I finished this course, I learned a lot. Went back to my digital marketing, trying to promote myself, and I got pursued by a person who hired me to close for them, ultimately, for their business. And the same person ultimately ended up asking me to be his partner because he loved the way I closed. I was doing very well for his company and he liked my approach. Um, and so, yeah, he asked me to partner up with him. And we ended up opening a sales and prospecting agency. And that's kind of how I ended up in that area. A lot of people started coming to me for advice on closing and sales, which is ultimately what led me to consulting, because one person was coming after the other, and I didn't know what I had actually learned, because I was continuously learning every day. I was determined to make sure all the stuff that had happened in the past, I wasn't going to let a girl feel unattached or ignored because of financial reasons anymore. I wasn't going to not be there for somebody because of financial reasons. You know, I'm going to have 99 problems in the world, but finances was not going to be another one ever again that I wanted to deal with. If there's anything else, at least I can control that and do my best to try to help whatever other circumstances come about. I felt so bad for my dog because her life was dictated by whether I could afford her to live or not. If I had taken her to the vet earlier, who knows what had happened? Maybe she wouldn't have been in that situation if I took her a week before, or a week and a half, whatever it was, before she got severely sick. So that's my story of how I ultimately went from being a firefighter paramedic into a high ticket sales consultant, and actually still successfully closing as well. Like, I don't just preach it. I actually still practice it. I still do prospecting and all that stuff. I want to make sure everybody that is taking wisdom, education, whatever you want to call it for me, I call it wisdom. Yeah, I never thought I'd be teaching people, but whatever it is I provide them, I want to make sure they're getting the best of each and every day that I can actually provide them to make them successful. So I'm always going to be practicing closing. I'm always going to be practicing prospecting to see what's work, what doesn't work. You can never get out of the trench of that game. You always should be on ground level trenches, whatever it is you are teaching on. And I firmly believe that. But that's pretty much my story. It's sounds kind of sad, kind of whatever, but it's very depressing. But it is what it is, and it's what led me to where I am today. This has been a very long video. Those of you that, or audio, I should say, those of you that have listened this long, I do appreciate your support in listening on this. And keep an eye out for me on YouTube. There are going to be a lot of videos on there. We're posting on how to do prospecting properly and all that stuff, how to close properly, how to make those sales and revenue increases without being super pushy or anything like that, but being somebody's actual advisor, not just a car salesy pushy person. That's not necessary. Be their advisor. Be their number one trusted advisor in the matter. You're trying to provide that person a solution, whoever it is you're trying to sell your service or product to. So remember that. Also keep an eye on LinkedIn, because I already have a lot of posts up on there for videos that go over all that stuff as well. And I'll be putting up some more. Instagram, whatever. I'm a little bit on and off on there. That's more showing off like cool protein bottles or things like that. But I'll post some business stuff on there, I'm sure. But anyways, Facebook, you can find me there, Jonathan Myers. I have to figure out how to take those privacies down. Like, I have it so locked up tight where only friends could find me if they knew my phone number. But yeah, again, appreciate you from listening, and talk to you soon.